And welcome to the East County Sports Report. I'm Ramon Scott, and I'm joined by my partner at EastCountySports.com, Dave Dickens, and, well, one of our best partners, media guys, if you will. We could always count on David Beezer to give us the scoop at Christian High School. And just a week or so ago, he announced that he would be leaving his position as athletic director and assistant football coach over there. He's done so many things, Dave, and we got him for 30 minutes or so tonight and talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely been quite a few years. I mean, if you add it all together with the coverage from my father, the late Bill Dickens, from the Californian old newspaper, to the East County Sports up through about 2016, and then we revamped it a little bit to fit the modern times, if you will. And Dave, you've with as far as Christian goes, you've been in and out of there since you were a player on the field.
Well, it was a long run, and going back to, I graduated in 1988, and your dad was covering our team, and I was always excited. There's a couple things. After the game, if I got interviewed by Dave Dickens or Bill Dickens, Bill Dickens' interview was a big deal. And I remember being beat up and sore on Saturday morning, and I would wait for that Daily Californian to arrive on the front porch, and I always go digging in it, seeing if they said anything about me in our Christian paper. That was back in the mid 85, 86, 87. So it was a great time. But these kind of sports in California is a big part of my life.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's got to be a pretty big story too within itself, though, Dave. I mean, being a receiver and then going through the coaching ranks and and then becoming the athletic director as well. I mean, that's been your home. I mean, that's been your really your life for the most part, from morning and night, and even in the evenings. I mean, I can recall just last year, Ramon and I watching film with Dave Beezer, checking out his scheme for the week to come, and it was really interesting to see it unfold live the next day and be covering.
Hopefully Dave can hear us there. If not, his picture froze up there at the end. So I'm hoping we got him, Dave. We checked early on in the transmission. We'll try to get Coach Beezer back. But Dave, let's just cover what Coach was touching on there. 17 years at Christian High School. And, of course, as humble as he is, he let Coach Oliver announce his resignation, his retirement from head coaching for now, if you will. You know, he's hinted to John Mappy in the article last week that he and Coach Oliver could hook up again, place and time to be determined. And I don't know, if he could give us a scoop on that tonight in the middle of a pandemic, but we do know that he's got plans to continue on with Coach Oliver in business, Dave, and you have some insight on that.
Yeah, they actually they decided. I was going to let him mention it. We'll see if he gets back in, but they both decided to get into the pest control business, and that's something I didn't even realize is Dave was a termite inspector years ago, and he had been hanging out with Oliver at the time, and I don't know if they were coaching at that time as well, but I'm assuming that was about the time that they got together. So yeah, he's taken on a whole new life, a whole new adventure, if you will. And I think that, hey, he gave it 17 years, and talk about some accomplishments. I mean, especially the offenses, like we talked about with Coach Oliver before. That they were the kings of putting up those points and uh, moving up in the ranks, starting off in the Harbor League as you had mentioned last time.
Okay, David, hoping to get Coach once again. We know that Coach Bees, come on, baby. All right. Dave, we're just trying to go ahead, Dave. I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying there. I thought we had Coach back. We're still going to try to get him going here. I'm going to keep going, and maybe you can help me out here while I fiddle with the controls here as the producer and host. But uh, talk about them, longtime friends going into business together. They've been, business partners, I guess, off and on, not only in private business, but as coaches, co-coaches, if you will. I mean, Coach Oliver's the head coach, the longtime head coach. We know that Coach Beezer did have head coaching duties at Christian High School, and those two have been tremendously responsible for all the football success. But don't forget, Coach Beezer oversees a great athletic program. You talk about the private schools and the size of Christian High School, Dave. Coach David Beezer is going to sorely be missed. Dr. Jeremiah said that they're going to be looking immediately to replace both of them, of course, and hopefully sooner rather than later is what Dr. Jeremiah said. But man, those are some big shoes to fill.
Absolutely, I think that's probably the biggest tandem in the East County. I don't think we would really think that we'd lose a tandem like that. You usually maybe one of them. I didn't realize at the time, as you said, David wanted to yield to Coach Oliver and let him get the spotlight first, which that's just the kind of guy that Coach Beezer is. He likes to be kind of the behind the scenes guy. I had the pleasure of running his pool filtration business that he took upon back in 2018, and along with ECS, he called me up. He said, "Hey, you interested in running a pool filter business? I got a warehouse picked out, and I think you're my guy that's gonna fill the shoes." And we went on with the filter business, and it was really pretty lucrative out there and out here in El Cajon.
Let me see if we got the audio. Dave, do we have Coach Beezer? Can you hear us, Dave?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, Dave, as long as Coach Beezer can hear us, I think let's try to work through this and keep him with the audio. If we get the video, that's a bonus. But maybe we can conduct the interview. This is a very important interview with, I don't know if it's soon to be former athletic director and head coach, or if that was already made official. Coach Beezer, tell us the timetable of that. And I teased Dave, you're going to tell us tonight where you and Coach Oliver are going to pop up as coaches next.
Well, it's tomorrow will be 2 weeks since I made the decision to move on from Christian, and I can tell you it was a great place to coach. My kids have all gone through Christian. My daughter, the youngest, is a junior there, and it's been a great experience. I've enjoyed working there, and I've had a lot of fun. Great relationship with kids and parents, and just it's been a really good place. But there comes a time when it's just you feel like it's time to move on. And I had a great conversation with Dr. Jeremiah, and just looking at for me the next step in my life, and it just kind of made sense for me to move on. There's a lot of uncertainty right now with the game and with athletics and with everything that's gone on, and I just felt like it was time to make a move, and I had an opportunity that I didn't want to pass up. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited about where things are heading.
Dave, now, if you had to pick out a moment, we asked the same thing to Coach Oliver, of course. What would you hone in on as far as probably the biggest highlight of your career? Maybe there's a couple of them, but I mean one that really stands out, whether it be as a player or as a coach, as an AD.
I had dinner the other night with Coach Oliver and Coach Mitchell, and we were out on this patio at a nice restaurant in Coronado, and all we did for 2.5 hours was talk about memories. And there were so many of them to sort through. I mean, going back, I can tell you, in '93 when we won our first championship, I had taken over a team that was 1-9 the year before. Daniel Jeremiah was a skinny sophomore. Man, he could play, and so he was a sophomore. I was a 23-year-old head coach trying to turn this thing around, and winning the CIF championship that first year of coaching was just a huge thing for me. Then we won the second one and the third one, and I've had a chance to be a part of 8 of them. The sweet ones, though, we beat Santa Fe in a final, and came down to the very end of the game, and they were ranked number 1 in the state. They were ranked number 1 to win the bowl. They had beaten us by 21 in the regular season. That game had 8 lead changes, and we ended up winning with a minute to go. So, it came down to the last play, and we found a way to get that one. So that was exciting. We also had a championship game against San Marcos High School a few years ago, and I don't think anybody gave us a shot in that one. And we found a way to get a win in that one. So I'd say San Marcos and that Santa Fe win are probably at the top of the list.
And then I mean, as you had mentioned, so many of those memories. I mean, did this decision did it start at any particular time? I mean, was it right when the pandemic started, or had you already been considering moving into a different business? As I had mentioned to Ramon, we had a pretty lucrative filter business going there for a while, and you had hired me on as the warehouse guy. I mean, just pretty much the guy to run the whole operation, which was pretty fantastic, if you ask me. And you know, we all know we did our best, and while it lasted, it was definitely a great business relationship, and it just added into all the years that really my family and your family have had some pretty close ties.
Well, sure, yeah. I think for me, it's interesting because Tuesday night, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and it was, maybe it's time. Maybe I've been doing this too long, and maybe there's some other things that I'd like to do. And then I had a meeting on Wednesday with our admin team, and then after the meeting, I had a few minutes to talk to Dr. J, and it's just, I think it just became clear to me that it was time to do something different. I've been in this place a long time, and it was, I loved every second of it. But I would say this, that it is a grind to get through a football season, and you better be absolutely buckled in and ready to go. And so I think for me, just getting away for a little bit and the uncertainty of this year coming up, I know for an athletic director, there's all kinds of things that you're facing now with taking temperatures and all the protocols and cleaning everything. It's not really conducive to athletics, and especially the game of football. We're still wearing masks everywhere we go, and we're talking about a couple months from now trying to start a football season. So for me, I'm going to let somebody else deal administratively with that, and I'm excited about the next step for me in the next venture.
Yeah, Coach, you definitely left your mark and your legacy at Christian High School. Would you say that they have a lot of rebuilding to do, or did they got a turnkey system as far as coaching is concerned. I mean, as Ramon and I had mentioned, Coach Oliver and yourself, that's some pretty big shoes to fill, and I'm sure Dr. Jeremiah definitely knows this as well.
You know, I think that we left them in good shape. We have a really, really good football team coming back. And that's, you know, a lot of coaches vacate when the cupboard's bare. And I think we left the cupboard full. It's a team that I thought had a chance to compete for a CIF title. We're very strong at quarterback. We've got great, you know, stable of wideouts. Defensively, we got some dudes. So, I say we because that's my alma mater and that's the school that I've coached at, and I'm still a Patriots fan. So, I want to enjoy watching them have a lot of success. But we left them in good shape. Now, the other part of this thing is with Coach Oliver. That's a big hole to fill. He and I were partners in this thing, and there's a lot of stuff off the field that Joe did for the program. Just that the next person's got some big shoes to fill, trying to fill Matt's, because he did a phenomenal job. We took it to whole new levels. When I started coaching, we were in Division 5, 4. And with Coach O, we went to 3 and 2. So pretty special. The cupboard isn't bare. They got enough there to be pretty good. But, after a few years, they got it's going to be on the next person to keep it rolling. I think the thing that as a coach, I'm probably, most proud of, other than all the fluffy stuff about building character and all those things, that at the end of the day, I coached all these years and we never had a losing season. And to me, that was one of the things I never wanted to have. I never wanted to have a team that had a losing season, and so I'm super proud of it.
And go ahead, Dave.
No, yeah, you got.
Yeah, I just want to say all the
questions.
success that the athletic program has had. Also, Coach Bees, under your guidance there. Imagine back in the late '80s when we played basketball in the Jimdenberg.
Yeah, I love that place. It was the greatest home field advantage you could ever imagine. You talk about home court advantage. People come in that facility and look around, and on cold days there was condensation. It was on the floor and it got slippery, and we knew how to play on it, and nobody else did. So I like that gym. I think it's on the side of the 8 freeway now. They're using it for indoor soccer, and we had a lot of wins in that. I remember I fouled a guy when I was in high school with like 2 seconds left, 3 seconds left, I think it was. I was Hoover, and the guy knocked down 2 shots to take a 1-point lead, and we inbounds the ball, and David Jeremiah took the ball and got just almost a half court and launched one, banked it in for the win, and saved my rear end from that dumb foul late. But that's the kind of place it was, and a lot of really beautiful memories in there.
Dave, I think you could take a 3-pointer from the corner and like hit one of those hanging lamps. That was like. Now we got the beautiful center, the beautiful campus. I mean, I think you'll miss that, Coach Beezer, but I think you'll feel like you've had a big part in keeping everything going and making this program. I mean, look at where the program has evolved. You talk about the evolution of the football team, but when you talk about the private schools, let's be honest, you just rank them right up there. They start talking about the cathedrals, the St. Augustine and Christian High, the East County private school. It's part of the conversation, mostly because of the impact athletics has made.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that we were able to do is we were able to attract great kids and great family, and that's the first thing you've got to do. We're the 7th smallest school in the county that plays tackle football. So there's about 100 schools in the county, a little more than 100 schools. We're the 7th smallest that plays tackle football. So what we did on the resources that we had, I don't know if there's a team that's done more with a smaller enrollment than us. Just year in and year out. There's been teams that have had maybe a year or two or a couple of years, but not like we've had over the long haul. And so I think that's a tribute to our school and our kids. We have great kids there and great families.
Yeah, no doubt, Dave. One of the interesting things about following Christian high athletics all these years, and you see it through other schools as well, but you see it more at Christian because of the small enrollment, is the generations of different families. Of course, everyone talks about the Jeremiah family, and even look at Dave's generations now too. But how many times have you seen, brothers and sons and daughters and mothers move through the program through these years because that's family. I went there, so you're going to go there.
Yeah, we have a great tradition, and it's been fun. I've coached, the guys that I played with in high school. I've, coached a lot of their sons, and that's a fun thing for me to do. And when you went to high school and you played ball with dad, and there's in the confidence they have to send their son to play for us. We're not the easiest coaches to play for. I can tell you that. We decided a long time ago that we were going to run a tight ship and we were going to be disciplined and we weren't going to put up with nonsense and parents weren't going to run the program. The coaches were going to run the program. And we've drawn some hard lines over the years. But we felt like we were trying to instill the best discipline in young men that we could, always loving them, always caring about them. They are part of something bigger than themselves. And, in a society that doesn't always understand that, we preach that. Do your job, be a faithful, loyal teammate. It's not about you. It's about the team. And so over the years, if we have a kid that it's about him, it doesn't go well. Because we were firm in our ability to say, hey, for us to be successful at Christian High, I don't know how anybody else does it, but I know how we do it. And the way we do it is that everybody's got to plug in, and everybody's got to pull their own weight, and everybody's got to do what they're coached to do.
And coach, and that's really what you can see as far as the coaches that I don't want to say that you left behind, but you definitely didn't leave the cupboard bare. Not only in football, but the basketball programs, the boys basketball, the girls basketball are phenomenal. Coach Mike Mitchell is doing a great job as always with the baseball team. Even Gentry with the softball club should be definitely a most improved group coming up when they go to play once again.
Yeah, Dave, how about those folks and maybe some of the other coaches you've had special relationships with or have worked extra hard that you'd like to shout out to our local audience?
We've had so many great coaches that I've had a chance to partner with at Christian. The biggest job of the athletic director is using their contacts to hire the best people available. And at Christian, it's a different place. We're looking for people that have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. We want people that honor the Lord. We want people that are plugged into a church. We want people that are going to sign our code of ethics, with not drinking. And so we have a no alcohol part of our contract. So we got to build a staff of people that understand our environment, understand that we're not like everybody else. But there are people out there that really, would consider it their ministry to coach. There's people that I'm just glad I wasn't called to be a nursery worker or a Sunday school teacher. My calling was to coach football. We have coaches that Mike Mitchell was called to coach baseball. Coach Oliver was called to coach football. Tim Brown, our basketball coach, great guy teaching Bible for us at the school. He's phenomenal. George Gentry is another one. Joel Waymeyer with girls softball. just a fantastic person. Vicki Carrington with girls basketball. Deb Larson was with me for years, coaching girls volleyball. Did a phenomenal job. Darren Higgins, he's one of our teachers, and Darren coaches, boys volleyball. Our tennis coach, Mike Folsom, has done just a phenomenal job with that. So, we've had great coaches, and I'm still have great relationships with them. They knew they could call me at midnight if something was going on, and somebody fired off an email to them, and we needed some help figuring it out. It was never a job, for me. It was bigger than that. And, I do feel out having a couple weeks now of not being in the saddle. It does feel like a lot of that pressure, day in and day out. It's a little bit of a nice break to not feel it all the time. I know I'm going to miss it, but I don't feel I feel rested at night compared to what it's like when you're grinding through a year in education. But wonderful place to be, and I work with really wonderful people.
And there's still room for growth, right, Coach, at Christian High? I mean, even though they'll have to work to find someone of your dedication, you turned this. We talked about it with Coach Oliver, Dave and I, when we had him on 10 days ago, and said, you turned a job that, I mean, obviously coaching positions of this stature are coveted a little bit, but you turned a small little private school job into probably one that's going to undergo a nationwide search for its next replacement in your position and in the football position. I think that speaks volumes.
And I look back and I feel like I did a good job there. I feel like the school was a great place for me and my family to be. I have zero regrets about in all the years. It was the greatest way for me to invest my life. As far as just the opportunity there, so many laughs in that coach's office. I always said they need to do a Saturday Night Live skit in there because we had so much fun. I know our football coaches will tell you that they enjoyed Saturday morning watching film together with donuts as much as anything else that we did. The morning after the game, getting in early. It was just such camaraderie. So, I'll miss that part of it.
Dave, Coach Beezer talks about running Saturday Night Live skits. I think that playoff preview show that we did that I feature on top of our YouTube media page because Coach Beezer is such a good interview. But we had so many one-liners in that one. I think we had our own skit previewing those games that night in that awesome locker room in Coach's office.
No, absolutely.
I always enjoyed that. The media has been great. What you guys have done and what KUSI has done. I got a text from Allie Wagner the other night just about all the pep rallies we had done together. Paul Rudy called. We were back and forth with Brandon Stone. I'm going to miss my friends in the media. It's funny, when I first started out, I got burned a little bit by the media. And I learned a lesson when I was a 4-year-old coach. And for a little while, I was gun shy. But I always had a partner with Bill Dickens. He would call me up and we'd go back and forth on things. I had a couple lines that he used to remember that he used to give me a hard time about. One of them was, we were playing a team. We hadn't played anybody good for probably 3 or 4 weeks. We had put a whipping on people, and we were playing somebody good. And he says to me, "So what do you have to say about the game?" And I said, "Well, the big dog's getting off the porch this week." And even 20 years later, he would always say, "Hey, is the big dog getting off the porch this week?" So it's kind of
Oh, man, Dave, I hope that's not it from Coach Beezer. We've just lost his audio there at the end.
Yeah, because the dog just got off. I hope the big dog didn't get off the porch.
I can totally see that and hear that conversation now. Go. Here you are, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. And thinking back to those days before East County sports started, and Christian High, I always treated as kind of special because so many times they would play because the Eagles would play at home on a Friday and the Patriots would get the day game, Dave, and in the Daily Californian, there was it was a daily paper, and so the Friday night coverage would kind of be all bundled together with 7 or 8 games of the Grossmont Conference. Of course, the big featured matchups, but remember. We cover every game, and we did back in the newspaper too. But on Saturday, when you open that paper up on Sunday morning, remember
Christian
the
High.
preps were always the featured coverage, unless the Padres were doing something or the Chargers had a big game. And still, or the Aztecs, I should say, because we're talking about Sunday morning. But the Patriots would be the big story, mostly because they were winning, and we had a local photographer out there. Black and white photos, but that's what it was all about. It was like Christian High had it every Sunday. You remember that, Coach Bees?
I sure do, and I've had a chance to in the last couple of weeks to go through some of those old articles, and brought a smile to my face. Just a lot of great memories as a player, and then as a young coach. A big shout out to the guys that played for me in '93 and '94, '95, and I'll tell you why. Is I was young and I didn't quite know if I knew what I was doing, and I was hoping that what I believed in and how to coach was right. And if we had failed early, I probably never would have had the confidence to coach like I did the rest of the years. But those kids played their hearts out and did so many special things. It kind of stamped on my heart how to run a football program. And so it validated what I believed was the best way to do it. And so we followed that philosophy all the way back, to 1993 when it started, because we did it, we had success with it, and then we just repeated it over and over and over. And so, over the years, I've had people come to me and they say, hey, there's a little bit different approach to how you do this, and maybe you need to do more social media stuff, and maybe you need to do it this way. And I said, no. I'm going to do it the way that, I believe is the best way to do it. And then when my time's up, then somebody else can do all that. But I want to coach, there's a little bit of Bill Belichick in me. Bill Belichick isn't tweeting and he's not, he doesn't have a handle. He's not posting stuff on Facebook. He's in the film room grinding. And so for me, I'm a grinder in the film room, not one that loves Twitter. So, the new era is coming, but I feel like I was able to finish it up doing it old school.
Yeah, you know what, Dave? Coach Belichick is now starting to appear in commercials. He's also was on that NFL all-time greatest 100 players. So you can see where this is going. You know where our old coaches go while they're waiting for their next job, Dave? They become experts. So that's right. So Coach Beezer would be our guest, analyzing the games like we did that night in the confines of the Christian High beautiful facilities. Dave, I think we should try to cut it short and thank Coach Beezer for fighting through this with his, it's not so much, no one's going to make fun of Coach Beezer for not having great internet. It's just coming from his palatial estate here behind me in the East County, Dave. So glad to have him, though, share these thoughts and these memories and get him on the record moving forward, because this is not the end of Matt Oliver and David Beezer, especially in the possibly the private sector. But we're going to be hearing from them again, David.
Yeah, and I can't speak any higher of an individual that, as I said before, that I had also worked for and worked beside in just these short 3 years running East County sports. And especially Ramon, that the way we switched things around and really went almost did a 180 on how we were going to do our football coverage and really our whole athletics coverage program. And Dave was just along for the ride, and I can't say enough about him, about how he was such a great partner in that athletic sector too, and a proprietor of what we were doing and why we were out there, and that he knew he didn't even have to ask. He just knew that we were going to give him the best coverage that Christian high school would deserve, and I think that he gave that back 100-fold.
Well, I'd like to wrap it up just by saying, to you guys, how much fun it's been working with you. I always look forward to being on the show and, the phone calls and talking sports. I really believe that you guys make high school athletics better, and that should be the goal of all of us, to make high school sports better. And I think we've been able to accomplish that. As far as Coach O and I, we're kind of sitting tight. We're excited about the business. Agricultural pest control is Coach O's business, and it's doing really well. And I'm excited about, I used to work there about 15 years ago. We've got an opportunity to really do some great things. That company is really on the move. And so we're going to focus on that in the short term. And, we're looking at a couple of things to get back at it. But we got to get the right job at the right time in the right place with the right administration. And, I think a lot of young coaches, they just want to get a head job. And I think Matt's going to pick the right one. But I don't think he's done yet. I think he still wants to keep doing this. We needed some time just to step away for a while. But it's been great, and really the best of luck to County Sports and all of the East County coaches that help you guys do what you do every week. Got a lot of respect for all of those guys.
Thanks a lot, Coach Beezer.
Absolutely.
Dave, I left those sponsors up there a little longer this week, trying to plant the seed to Coach Beezer and Coach Oliver and yourself as we look for new sponsors every year, especially when our coverage is going to be blowout style this year with the incredible future of high school sports once we get through this pandemic.
Absolutely, and thanks again, Dave. We can't tell you how much we just appreciate it so much that you took the time tonight to join us for this last time, but maybe not. We don't know that for sure.
Bringing it back.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, brother. And thank you very much, Dave, for doing that. And I don't want to necessarily wrap it up. I'm just going to talk with you for just a moment as Coach Beezer leaves us, because rather than going into our outro, I just want to know if you had anything to say. Really, one of the schools that you've done probably the most work with over the few years that you've been leading us here at East County Sports.
No, yeah, absolutely. I just, he said it best about how they sign on with the code of ethics and just how the whole program, everybody buys in, the way that all the administrators and all the coaches, how inviting they are. And don't get me wrong, all of the East County schools, every single one of them are as well. But I did quite a bit of coverage over there. As my dad used to say, you gotta include everybody, but everybody likes some winning as well. So you gotta pick sometime when you're. I'm gonna requote Coach Bees. When you're the big dog on the porch, you want to go see some of the big dogs out there occasionally. But then I've always been one to see the other end of the spectrum as well. We love all of our East County schools, but Christian has been special, and Coach Oliver and Coach Beezer will be dearly missed, not only as administrators and coaches, but I think to the East County community and that sector. But as you heard from Coach Beezer, he will remain in the East County, but doing something else. But it sounds like they got something in the works, brother. I think that who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with a consulting firm and with concerning sports in the years to come.
Well, it is interesting, said Coach Beezer shortly after, like we said, maybe just being nice to share the spotlight with the man who's led the football program, but all over, Dave, things going very, very soon. I can't wait for January.
Absolutely not. I think January we're going to be, as I mentioned to you before, it is going to be a whole new world, but I think it's also going to be action on top of action. We always talked about the overlap of football into basketball, but that's going to come a lot more quickly than we are usually accustomed to in a different type of season, if you will, as far as January for football, January for or later on into February for basketball. It's just really going to be real interesting to see how it all unfolds and how much more practice all of these vehicles and all these programs that they have to get stronger, to prepare, game plan, and to prepare for all of their seasons that are going to come up quicker than we think. And January seems like a far off thought, but I think it's going to be here more sooner than later. And I think that everybody in the East County is looking forward to that.
All right, thanks for the filler there at the end. I had a little bit of technical difficulties, you could tell, trying to wrap up the show, but you did a great job, obviously, with Coach Beezer announcing his resignation. He gave it a week and a half ago, but we got a chance to catch up with him. So thanks a lot, Dave. I'm going to try to wrap it up, and we'll catch up with you next week. Thanks,
yes, sir.
brother.